Hey, Steve here from Post Processing Mastery. Now, layers and masking in Photoshop CC is powerful. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you're probably not using it, but should. Now, before we get started, if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up on YouTube, just to let me know that you enjoy this video and you want me to keep making more just like it. And also, if you're ready to step up your layers and masking to the next level by starting to get to know luminosity masking, then you can click the link in the video description below this video on YouTube, and you'll be able to download my free PDF guide, An Introduction to Luminosity Masking. So with that said, let's crack on with the tutorial. So the first thing that I should mention is, if you are absolutely brand new to layers and masking and you haven't ever used them before, or you don't know exactly how they work, just in terms of the basic black is conceal, white is reveal kind of idea, then you should definitely check out my Introduction to Layers and Masking video first. I'll put a link in the description below this video to that video, and I'll also put a little pop-up that should appear in the video right about now. But if you're already comfortable with the basics of layers and masking, then these 3 tips are going to be really powerful for you to learn. So the first one is that you can copy a layer mask from one adjustment to another. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm just going to create a couple of just random adjustments using a curves adjustment. It could be any kind of adjustment layer here. So let's darken the image with this curves adjustment, and then maybe with the next curves adjustment I will let's increase the blues in the image. So I'm just going to grab the blue channel and push that curve upwards. So we've got 2 adjustments here. So the first one darkening, and the second one is adding a bit of blue. So let's say that we don't want this darkening effect to be used in the whole image. So we would then take our brush tool, and we would use a black brush to brush into the mask where we want to exclude, or to essentially cover, this adjustment and remove it from view. So as you can see over here in the layer mask, I'm just using some basic brush strokes here to essentially brush this darkening effect out of the image. So that's all well and good. So let's toggle this off and on. So now we can see that darkening effect is only affecting the sky and that little bit of foreground. So let's now suppose that we want our curves adjustment that adds the blue to be also excluded from the same areas that we masked the curves 1 adjustment out of. So what we could do is just brush into the image and redo all of those brush strokes to try and match exactly where the previous mask was masking. Or what we can do is this: we can just copy the mask from the curves 1 into the curves 2 layer mask. So the way that we do that, first we have to actually load this layer mask into view, and the way that we do that is by holding on the keyboard Alt on a PC or Option on a Mac and clicking on the mask. So now we can actually see the areas here that are black are the parts that are being concealed from this adjustment, and the white is being revealed. Now in this view we can basically just copy the whole canvas. So we can on the keyboard press Command or Control A to select all, Command or Control C to copy, and then click up in the curves 2 adjustment layer mask and press Command or Control and V. And so we're literally just copying from curves 1 mask into curves 2 mask. I can deselect now, come back over here, and we'll see that blue effect is now being applied only in the sky in the foreground, just the same as in curves 1 adjustment. So being able to copy layer masks from one adjustment into another is really handy. It's really going to save you a lot of time, especially when you're creating really intricate layer masks. Even luminosity masks, that's going to take things to another level. So with that said, copying and pasting, that's one powerful tip. Second that I want to share with you today is that you can actually adjust your layer masks with other adjustments. So bear with me while I set this up. Let's add a new curves adjustment, and let's just make a random contrast adjustment. So I'm just going to add an S curve there. The image isn't looking that great. This is just for sort of demonstration purposes, really. Okay. Right, now let's add some brush strokes to mask this out of the, let's mask it out of the water here. And let's take it out of the sky a little bit. Okay. So there, we've done some random brush strokes into the layer mask. Now let's have a look at what that actually looks like. Alt or Option on the keyboard and click into the Curves Adjustment Layer Mask. So we can see here that even though I'm using a black brush, because I'm using it on a less than 100% opacity, that's coming through as grey in a lot of areas. Now, one thing that you can do, which is kind of like a bonus tip, I guess, is that you can actually brush directly in this view here. So if I wanted, I could just brush with a black brush across the top there, and and that's going to be applied into the layer mask. It's not that easy to see what you're doing exactly here. When you progress to using luminosity masks, it actually becomes a lot more useful, as does this actual tip here, but I think it's really powerful anyway. So yeah, this is why I'm showing it to you. So what you can actually do now is go to the image, adjustments, and let's try the curves adjustment here. And so this brings up the curves adjustment box. And now what we can do is actually add a curve and say a contrast curve to this view here. And what we're doing, we're adding contrast, and that's adjusting what the layer mask actually looks like. It's adding contrast, so the blacks are getting blacker, the whites are getting whiter. What that allows you to do is create more separation. If I just click OK now, that creates more separation between these areas that you've masked. So that again becomes really, really powerful when you're using luminosity masks, but it can also be powerful as well if you're just brushing with a regular brush into a layer mask like we have here. Now the third and final tip that I've got for you today is that we can use layer masks on groups of layers. So let's say we've got a bunch of adjustments that we've made. So far in this video we've used 3 curves adjustments, and they look good as you're going along. The first one looks good, second one, okay, that's decent, third one, that's good. But when you compare it to the original image, when you add all 3 at once, maybe they're a little bit too strong, or there's just something you want to pull back or just mask out from this before and after kind of effect. What you can actually do is group all of your adjustments together. So I'm going to click on the top one, hold Shift on the keyboard, click on the bottom one. That highlights them all, and now I'm going to press Command G or Control G, that would be on a PC, Command G for a Mac, and it's going to put them in a group. And now we can toggle this off and on as a group of adjustments. But what we can also do is add a layer mask to the group. So now we can basically brush with a black brush to remove these, or to mask these adjustments in or out as a group, as a whole. So there we go. Each adjustment layer has still got its own layer mask applied, but then, as I say, the group also has a layer mask that is applied individually and separately to those 3 layer masks. So just to recap for you, these 3 powerful tips for layer masking that I have for you today was, first, that you can copy an existing layer mask from one layer to another. Second was that you can use adjustments on a layer mask, so you can add contrast and brush into a layer mask directly in the layer mask view. And the third and final tip, which I just showed you, was that you can group your layers together and add a layer mask to that group to add another level of blending those adjustments in or out of your image. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And it just leaves me to say thank you for watching. I will see you next time.